I find it to be an incredibly. At this point, I am grumpy. I am nearly 40, and the only thing that I can think as I look out there at the political landscape and these Christian fucking nationalists, these goddamn whack job extremists who are trying to force their Bibles down our unwilling throats. By the way, fuck your God. You know, it's just quite simply, the jig is up, man. To you Christians, you've fucked the whole thing up. I mean, I left the pews maybe like 30 fucking years ago. I remember, because see, my own background and religion. I grew up in a spiritually divided household. My father was sort of on the atheist side of the debate. My mother was Jehovah's Witness. There was this whole debate between the scientist side of the family and the religious side of the family. Both his children ended up more on his side on that one, the scientist side of things. And yet, we, as time has gone on, I have seen numerous examples that to me demonstrate that there is no hatred out there at all. Like this so-called Christian love and all these things that people confuse with it because they think they're trying to save people from damnation and hell. There's no hatred like what they've put on display at all, in all of it. There was a pastor, I had a personal friend in high school, who I remember had a little brother who died of cancer not long after, a number of years later, his sister was in the Pulse nightclub on the night of the shooting and got taken out that night. There was a pastor who came out basically and said that, the only tragedy was that he didn't get more of them, that there weren't more events like this, and that, that they had killed a bunch of pedophiles and all this other stuff. And as time marches forward, we see more and more examples of this sort of hateful extremism from the so-called Christians in our country. And I have reached the point where it's like my whole life, no community that I've ever been part of has been anything more than the people who made it up, which is one of the reasons why I hate this fucking corner of the web. Because the community sucks. Quite frankly. But alas, to you thoughtful and sincere Christians, it has reached the point in which, rather, I don't want to be stuck with you in heaven. I feel that if so egregiously pissed off and disgusted with you that I would rather burn in hell than spend 5 minutes hanging out with some of these pastors who say shit like this, who do shit like this, who cheer on the slaughter of, LGBTQIA people and all this other stuff. Like, you understand that this whole, your God's whole, you're gonna go to hell if you reject the divinity of Jesus shit is no longer, it's a threat that's ringing rather hollow at this point. Because at this point, if I spend a few minutes imagining the hell and the torment that I would feel being stuck with these hateful bigots in quote heaven unquote, I'm starting to realize that this would be torture. To me, going to heaven would be a punishment. I'm at that point, with all of it. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to spend any time with you whatsoever. And, it's just the frustration. Charlie Kirk was basically, a Christian nationalist himself, too, So, this channel at this point is just about throwing up 2 middle fingers and saying, fuck you, fuck your God, and fuck your good book. The Bible is really only good for potentially temporarily sustaining fires. Burn them, they're of no use whatsoever to society. P.S. Hail Satan. I'm fucking done with, with Christianity. I don't want anything to do with it. And, your Bible and taking it out and whipping it out is a bit like a penis. Nobody really wants to see it. You're free to have it. You're free to, if anybody wants to, copulate with you, fine, freedom for you, consent, whatever. But, you don't whip it out in public. So, that's really the take home message to all of you. Go fuck yourselves. I realize I'm better off alone.